Have I read the GQ interview with Miles from today? Really? All right, let's read. Miles Jacobson has World Cup winners on WhatsApp, dozens of... Okay, I'm good. I just needed a second. Dozens of football clubs who pay for a scouting network and 20 million players who swear by Football Manager. Until last year, when the series' last entry never released. Is that... Okay, that is the start of the article. 2 World Cups ago, in the summer of 2018, when England saw football come closer to home than it had in decades, can we pause this? Thank you. Miles Jacobson was at his flat in London's Muswell Hill, sick with cancer. The longtime director of Football Manager had been lucky. Doctors caught it early in the skin on his thigh. But the 290 game developers he oversees were in the dark. He kept working throughout. After all clear, he sent an email to the team, so you might have been wondering why I've been wearing a tracksuit and trousers for 6 weeks and so on. Jacobson has overseen Football Manager for more than a quarter century. Unofficially, he's worked in the series since '94 under its old name Championship Manager. Yet in all those years, he has had no discernible time off. His most recent holiday was to a war zone, the DR Congo, with the charity War Child, of which he's an ambassador. When the do I have time for a holiday? He asked me. Now 54 years old and 5'6.5", he jokes and a half is important to him. Jacobson meets me in Hackney Wick, chicken shop called Randy's, on a cloudy October day, just a few weeks before the launch of the most important game of his career. He's wearing smudged square pilot's glasses and a beaten-up dark brown leather jacket. He still has this sweary, undiluted vibe of a band manager having come up through the 90s indie scene, writing for NME and eventually releasing records like Blur's Pop Scene. My job title at one point was A&R Scout, he says, and then it became Tasteless A&R Wanker. I don't really understand any of what just happened in that sentence. We'll just keep rolling. His route into gaming can be boiled down to one too many 2 a.m. sessions on Championship Manager. Ideas that he'd feverishly submit to series founder Oliver and Paul Collier via fax, and eventually a reply asking who he was, whether they could meet. In 2001, the brothers handed him full-time control. Football Manager has not only become more popular in his tenure, but has become responsible for popularizing tactical lingo and group chats across the world. It's also now a bona fide tool for the sport. 40 clubs worldwide pay an untold sum to license the database of players, which is maintained by 1,600 scouts and researchers to try and nab the next wonder kid before their rivals. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has credited it for preparing him for his managerial career. Andre Villas-Boas said he used it to study tactics. It was even suggested that Lionel Messi was almost signed to Alex McLeish's Rangers off the back of his teenage stats. We're not just a football game, Jacobson says. We're art imitating life. Imitating art, imitating life. Okay. How long is this? Are we going to be able to... Yeah, we can read the whole thing. Then last year, for the first time since 2003, Sports Interactive didn't put out a game at all. It was an unprecedented move. Football Manager 25 was delayed twice with the studio hoping they could turn the development around before being canceled entirely. Jacobson made the call himself, playing a developmental build home alone during the 2024 festive period. The game was completely hollow. Did that ruin your Christmas? Ruined my decade, he answered. Okay. The cancellation cost an entire year of revenue. Parent publisher Sega, most famous for Sonic the Hedgehog, watched its stock price dip almost 4%. Knowing that I've failed to ship a game entirely, it hit me hard. He found some respite in cooking. I have a sashimi dealer, he tells me, showing me a photo of homemade maki rolls in his phone. Yet no amount of raw fish could make up for the... Am I reading a fever dream? No, I mean, okay, so this, to be fair, is somebody with a degree in journalism. This article is a personality piece on Miles Jacobson. And it's actually pretty good. I'm not like making fun of GQ at all. I want to be very, very clear. But this is more of a who is Miles Jacobson, kind of the peel behind the mask sort of thing, than it is about Football Manager. You know what I mean? It's more of a dive into who Miles is. This is a profile on Miles. Is what you would the official term would be a profile. Gets good in the next paragraph. Okay, after the sashimi dealer, because I was enjoying that. I love sashimi as much as the next guy, actually. So I had nothing against that. But I just love the sentence, yet no amount of raw fish could make up for the death threats from FM addicts, angry they had to go cold turkey. Jacobson had to pull out of attending a match at his beloved Watford because of credible risk. I found that really odd, he says. I needed a hug. I didn't need a kicking. Well, it took several months, but by February this year, Jacobson was re-energized. Development on what would become Football Manager 26 hit full swing. The good parts of 25 were saved. So began what Jacobson called a new era. You can't polish a turd, and 25 parts of it were turdy. That's why we're polishing now as a diamond. The funny thing is, I don't necessarily disagree with him. You can still make the argument that Miles is right. Obviously, it flopped on arrival, but the football manager in this UI, like in Unity engine, has crazy potential. It does. It has 5-star potential. It just needs a lot more polishing than they probably hoped, bro. It just needs more polishing than they probably hoped. It needs a lot more polishing. But the funny thing is, like, as funny as it sounds to hear him say that, and obviously you can go like, well, it didn't age well. Obviously, people are piling on to. I've said that before, right? Do I think it's the 7th worst game that's ever been released on Steam? Not even close. But it's obvious that the way that they've gone about releasing the game after 2 years. Yeah, the diamond is still coal. Yeah, basically. The diamond is still coal. It is. The diamond it's still coal. On the morning Jacobson and I were due to meet, Sports Interactive had a week and a half production time left on FM 26. By the time that lunch's empty plates leave our table in the mid-afternoon, the team has 2 full weeks. There are always levers to pull. Talking about Barcelona's strategy. The entrance to Sports Interactive feels more like a museum tour at the Etihad than a game development studio, with shirts signed in glass enclosures, Neuer, Griezmann, Xavi, and more. After 6 months here, staff get their own, complete with the team colors of their choice, their surname, the year they joined as a squad member. As a result, the wall of shirts draped over the backs of chairs puts the main studio space in Technicolor. One meeting room is styled with the shirts of real-life players who were once hailed as generational talents in Football Manager but didn't live up to the hype. It's a room that Jacobson won't use. Everyone else loves those stories. To me, they're mistakes we've made. Such a Miles Jacobson answer to that. Nowadays, the game's research rules are rigorous. Volunteers watch players in the ages of 12 to 14 and have to watch them 10 times before giving a rating. We want to have a 99% strike rate from the age of 18, Jacobson explains. That is unless you're Martin Odegaard, whose dad tweeted a picture of himself holding a sign giving permission for his son to appear in Football Manager before the legal age requirement of 16. It's all part of creating the most credible football sim that you can play. Do you enjoy your job? Jacobson asked me. I say I do. We're about 5% of people. We make Football Manager to allow people to hate their jobs, to allow people who hate their jobs to go home and go into a parallel universe. The expectation level this year is so high that no game could ever reach it, he admits. People who aren't uber hardcore are coming into the studio and loving it. The uber hardcore are struggling to find where things are. We won't bring everyone with us. This is dangerous. All right, this is dangerous. Mackenzie, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. W to Mackenzie. No, I think this is dangerous territory to be, right? This is really, 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 really dangerous territory to be in for SI. Because part of it is right? That I don't know if the expectation level this year was so high that no game could ever reach it. I mean, I love Dr. Benji. Dr. Benji's always trying to get me to like start some sort of online war. He's trying to egg me on. But people who aren't uber hardcore coming into the studio and loving it. See, the use of the phrase uber hardcore, right? It's like double distancing. It's like, well, one, you've got your subset of hardcore, and then you've got your uber hardcore. And those are the only people that are struggling to find things, right? And that it's the vast majority of people who aren't in this uber hardcore category that are enjoying the game, right? It can be a viable explanation. It also can be dangerous because you can end up going down, for lack of a better terms, a Trumpian route where you go like, well, how do you know that? It's like, well, many people are saying, many people are enjoying the game. They're just not the people we see. It's like that kind. You need a balance, and I can see the direction that maybe they're going in the offices where they're like, oh, we're getting review bombed. Oh, it's the uber hardcore people that don't enjoy the game. To be frank, the uber hardcore people, The uber hardcore people are not playing console. And there's a lot of people that are playing on console that are complaining. So I can give you a good example right now of like, you know, the fact that it's not just uber hardcore people that are having an issue with the game. And it's not, you know, maybe uber hardcore people are just able to notice faster, as you would refer to them, uber hardcore people. I would say people that have just played the game a significant amount before. They're able to notice faster that there are parts of the game that feel worse than they did in previous years, right? That there's been this kind of, there are features in the game that don't exist anymore. I think a lot of the frustration comes out of the relativity of it from FM24 to FM26. If you bring in somebody that's never played a Football Manager and they play FM26, you're not going to notice that certain things are missing. You're not going to notice how it might have been way easier to do one thing and now it's not easier to do that thing. But the idea that we won't bring everyone with us, it's like, well, you probably should want to. If you've got a really addicted core fan base. Yeah, I mean, I understand that not every single person that's ever played Football Manager is going to continue to play Football Manager every year. So on principle, that statement is true. But as an ethos for like the direction of the company, it's probably dangerous because you're going to want to make it in a way where people are able to enjoy the game, particularly people that have enjoyed the game in the past. I hope is that players will preserve long enough that the muscle memory loosens so they can discover something new. FM26 modernizes the interface for a new generation of players, removing the inbox I mean, there's still an inbox. Let's just stop with that. Let's stop. Let's stop, please. Please. Let's stop pretending there isn't an inbox in this game. It's called messages. It's the same thing. Right? Like and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a good way to manage the game. But let's stop pretending that we've like bespokely removed the inbox from the game. The game debuts women's football, opening up to a broader audience, fueled by this summer's Lionesses fervor. On the technical front, Sports Interactive is partnered with Hawkeye. Okay, this is just like the stuff that we already know, basically. It makes a fundamental difference. Not the best looking game out there, but our art and animation team want to get there, and they have the freedom to over the next few years. They do have the freedom to. Now, this is why it is, even though it's still a piece of coal, a potential diamond. This potential largely comes from intimate access to the world of football. One Manchester United player recently messaged him to disagree with their pace stats when compared to a teammate. Jacobson asked them to race each other to prove it. They sent me a video and we'd got it wrong. That's actually remarkable.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, this is a really funny story, though. They sent me a video and we'd got it wrong. The person who complained, to be fair, you've got me down as a better dribbler than he is, and he's better than I am, so the team changed that stat too. In years past, he would capitalize on his almost unfettered access in ways he says are bonkers. He remembers texting one of the French World Cup players. Hold on, what's up?
Hilarious.
Dude, it kind of is. The UI is definitely similar to Tennis Manager. But can we manage the Lionesses in the video game? True. Trying to capitalize on that Lionesses fervor, can't manage the Lionesses in the video game itself. Nice. He texted one of the French World Cup's quad players a congratulatory message after the win against Croatia. I'm still convinced he was on the pitch celebrating when I got the WhatsApp back saying merci, he tells me. He's literally just telling a story about how he texted a French player after winning the World Cup. Back in the studio, he tells developers they won't believe what he saw. They often didn't. Oh, he'd message major clubs asking to attend training, then he'd charm his way into the squad meetings, and then that sentence. So in more recent times, Jacobson's brought that access directly to his team with what Sports Interactive calls foot talks, intimate discussions between its developers and famous names of the sport. He recently had an international manager asking to participate who said, you can't post to LinkedIn because you're going to have an hour and a half of my time. This other company pays $10 million a year for 30 seconds of my time. He's just flexing, dude. Miles is just flexing. I mean, I don't know if it's just the way the article is written or whatever, but this whole, like, it's just, I don't know. There's actually a plaque in the BAFTA cinema that says, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, love Football Manager. Jacobson says, of course he wants to win one. The ego wants everything, right? When we first sold 1 million games, I wanted to do 2. When we did 2, I wanted to do 5. Now we've got 20 million players, and I'm like, well, I can't ask for 40. So what now? Jacobson, now slouched on a big sofa in his office, says part of the last few years has been about ensuring he's less important to Sports Interactive. This is vital considering how much is resting on the success of FM26. I could get fired tomorrow. If the game comes out and bombs, I'm out of a job. I mean, look, regardless of any thoughts or anything, that is a really rough thing to have said in an interview that comes out a day or two after your game is released to like 22% positive reviews. Like, objectively, that's just a brutal thing to have said. You know, like that's. They already dropped one big patch to try and pull the game out of the fire a little bit, but he contrasts development with music. If a singer leaves 99 times out of 100, they're screwed. Games aren't like that, and that's a good thing. He doubts he will be there in 20 years, but he wants the game to be in 50, 100, 200. He remembers that his mom always used to tell him when he was growing up, you have to try and leave the world a better place than you found it. She was the real deal in that respect. A passionate, single-minded Jewish teacher and apartheid protester who fled from South Africa to the UK out of fear of becoming a political prisoner. She died during the pandemic after a third stroke accelerated her dementia. Jacobson had been her full-time registered carer in the months until the end. He tells me a story of her taking him to his first football match when he was just 6 and would pore over match stats in the free newspaper on Saturday morning. She hated football, and all sports really, but in those 90 minutes she changed her son's life. For the 20 million players who immerse themselves in SI's fictional realities each year, these games are Jacobson's tribute to his mom's motto. You asked me earlier if I had any children, he says. The answer is I've adopted Football Manager as my child. I treated it like that. It is everything. For him, though, betterment is often not about the games at all. Once launch has been tackled, Jacobson is planning one of his sort of holidays to another war zone. I would have gone away with War Child this year, but we already had a game out, he says. Being able to help people who really have nothing, seeing the warmth and generosity that people had welcome you into their houses. At the door of his office, he grips my hand to say goodbye. That's what makes life worth living, right? Dude, this article was a wild ride. Wild ride. We went from cancer to bragging about texting, like, national team players to his mom dying to, like, if the game bombs, I could get fired tomorrow to, you know, I'm in secret meetings with clubs and friends with I don't even know what just happened. I got like whiplash, basically. It was like story dumping. Yeah. It was like story dumping. I don't think it was poorly written or anything. That's not what I'm saying. I think they did a solid job trying to compile this. It just sounds like this dude had a wild afternoon with Miles Jacobson. Oh, and sushi. Yeah. And sushi. No, I mean, I'm not actively celebrating him maybe losing his job or whatever. I'm not. I have not once said that. I have never like called for. I think that would be stupid, because what's the turn of phrase? The devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Do I think Miles is a perfect game lead? No. Do I think that he runs a better game than EAFC or something? Yeah, obviously. There's no microtransactions. The guy, obviously, when he's not texting national team players, congratulations, does care about the game, right? He's not somebody that I don't think, at least based off this interview, he's clearly somebody that enjoys the attention that he gets from being the guy that leads the game. He does not shy away from that, and he enjoys it a lot. But I don't think he's necessarily in it as some sort of money cash grab either. The guy ended up getting hired in the first place because he was really addicted to the game. So it's like, I don't know, Miles is just... You read the interview? He's a quirky dude, man. Yeah, I don't know. That was... For that interview to be the one that comes out like 2 days after... It's just a profile of Miles Jacobson, which I wasn't necessarily ready for. That was kind of a jump scare. I thought it was going to be more of just him talking about the process of the game. That was just a profile.